So a lot has been going on today. This dude just wants to get in the camera. Anyhow, so I got the base coat laid on the plastics last night. Kids started school today, had some work to do around the house today, had more stuff to do with my own schooling today. So I'm just now getting around to messing with the R1. So far off camera, I started to reinstall the brake lines inside the frame, and I just mounted the exhaust, and now I'm about to move on to mounting the radiator and oil cooler, and then probably finish off with the brake lines. I want to get around to installing the Airbox today. Which means I have to get everything inside the frame hooked up. So also parts that I ordered from Yamaha came in, but been so busy today, haven't had a chance to go pick them up. So probably go and do that tomorrow because it's already 6 o'clock, I think, or after 6. And I'm already dealing with a mess anyways. So, oh, there's some of the plastics. And there's some more of the plastics. I'll give you guys a good look at those later on after I finish. Look at that. After I finish messing with this thing over here. So stick around, stay tuned. Wanted to show you guys something real quick. As I was going to put the Airbox on, I realized after I was screwing this down that there's supposed to be a little nipple that sticks out of here that this thing kind of locks down on. So when I raised it back and I looked under there, that's what I saw. This is a better view of what those block off plates look like, and they're smog block off plates. Before this exhaust went on this bike, this exhaust was on this bike. Not anymore. But I'm actually thinking about putting this one back on. I need to get that mid pipe. And again, this is a save money build. So that mid pipe cost, the cheapest I've seen it is $200 and some. So this one came with the parts bike, and I've already spent the money on the parts bike, and the object of this build is to not have to really spend money. So we are at that point now where I can get everything plugged in to the Airbox, start putting the throttle bodies down, put this guy back in, and that will be our stopping point for the day, or night rather. You may recall I was at the Yamaha dealership a few days ago, last week, and the reason why is because this guy. If you know what you're looking at, this is the ECU holder, where the ECU, let me turn this thing around, where the ECU slides in and it sits right in this spot right here. So since I'm converting to a 2020, obviously things changed. This was one of the things that changed. So after taking this one apart, which was basically just removing this, and this is the only thing that really got destroyed, that heat shield on the back, which is this heat shield right here. And to be honest, I may slap this sucker on the back of here. But anyhow, this is where we are. Now, this does work, but this is my concern. It's holding on right now. ECU's not going anywhere, but
This is supposed to clip into here, and this one is supposed to clip into there. What's really holding this backside in is this right here, where it routes under the frame and is basically being pinched by the ECU wires in the frame. But if we pop that out, you'll see more what I'm talking about. These slots are supposed to go onto these tabs, but because the design is different, basically the harness wires are pressing up against this oil cooler, lower radiator hose, which you can't see, but it's this line right here. And the harness is pressing up against that, and it's kind of making the ECU stick out a little bit, so this does not go down flush like it's supposed to. And what I am thinking about doing is just cutting this tab and this tab off all together, and pretty much going one of two ways. Line everything up so I can give you guys a more accurate vision of this. Trying to do this with one hand, so it's not as easy. So what I'm thinking is cutting off these two tabs, or at least this tab, and replacing this tab with just screwing a hole in here and putting a push pin like this. Or I'm going to saw that off and put a quick fastener behind it and just screw it in so that I have peace of mind that it is securely fastened. Chewing gum, and obviously I can't do two things at once. So that's my plan of action right now. The hardest part was really just trying to figure out which route to go before I actually just put the thing up there to see what I could do. But that's where I am with the ECU. I explained to you guys that when this bike had the initial accident, the airbox was destroyed. It basically opened the throttle bodies and the piston cylinders to just allow water to drain, down there, and which ended up in the oil pan. So while I was at Yamaha, I picked up this right here. As I said, guys, I'm not a motorcycle technician. I'm not a motorcycle engineer. I do build motorcycles, but I don't design how they're built or anything like that. I modify, I do stuff like that. I'm just a guy in the garage working on bikes that I bought from the auction, or, from someone that was wrecked already, to try to save a buck and rebuild them the way that I want them, and call that a day. What it do, people? So we're back today. I'm hoping today is the day that I get to start this thing up. Past probably 2 days I've been working on the bike off camera, and the reason why is the first day it was just basically a paint day. Finally got all the fairings painted, and as I mentioned a few times before, I'm using my cell phone, and painting outside, the wind is unpredictable and it can blow a lot of that paint onto my phone, onto the camera lenses, onto the main screen, into those little crevices where you really don't want stuff to be. So I'll give you guys a shot of how the fairings came out. I'll show you guys what paint I used. I did use a HVLP setup for the clear coat. The base coat was that same, rattle can, Rust-Oleum, Alpo red, that I had showed you guys already. So I just basically went back and did the clear coat. But also, as I previously mentioned, I had issues with the wheels being magnesium. The powder coater just didn't feel comfortable doing them because apparently magnesium has a reaction to heat and can actually even combust. Didn't know that, but you live, you learn. So I ended up having to paint the rims also. And anyone that knows me and asks me about painting wheels, it's a flat out no. I just don't paint wheels because they don't hold up. They're not durable as well as powder coat, and at some point you are going to end up repainting them again. So I did go ahead and paint them, mainly because this is a budget build anyway, and I actually did film part of the painting. But as for now, just to give you guys an update, I did swap over the wiring harness for the R1M. After I turned the switch on and got power to the dash, I had a few trouble codes. Check engine light came on. It's like, as a matter of fact, probably every light came on. So I did a little bit more research, and I realized that the 2017s are standalones, meaning they're not compatible with 2016, 2015, 2018, 2019, so on. So 2017s are only compatible with 2017s. F my luck. But I had the ECU also that came off the R1M. So the R1M's ECU is still matched with the wiring harness. So I plugged all of that stuff up, turned the power on again, and then I started receiving codes 66, 41, and 99. 66 was the steering damper. The reason I was getting the code for the steering damper is because this happened when I originally purchased the bike from the auction. That was part of the damage. I may just do the top mount where it mounts on the top of the triple tree. But anyhow, I plugged the steering damper in, and I still was receiving code 99 and code 41. So after looking those up, one of them said the tilt sensor. God, Jesus, tilt sensor, aka the tip over sensor. So after being lazy and not just going to the manual to do all of this stuff, one, my laptop was, in need of charge. My tablet was having issues pulling up the freaking manual. So I was trying to use the internet, and the internet really wasn't helping me find the tip sensor. So I just figured it was probably under the seat somewhere like it's been in previous years. So I started looking through all the stuff. And then I came over here to my junk pile. Oh, I found this guy in my junk pile. So when I found this in my junk pile and I looked at the plug, which was a 4-prong plug, I realized that I also had a 4-prong wire that was just hanging out over here. So I lifted the battery up, and that plug right there, I plugged it in, came back, turned the key again, pulled this bad boy up to see what was going down, and check it out. No codes. I can go through all the modes, access the menu, everything. Like, everything works as it should now as far as the dash goes. Fuel light still flashing because there's no fuel tank. I did rotate the engine, and because of that water in the engine, I used this right here, and I rotated the pistons by hand, you know, to kind of try to lube those cylinders up. Nothing really felt out of whack while I was doing it. So as I said, hopefully today I can get this thing fired up. I still don't have coolant in the bike. I still have to replace this hose. I have it. It's still on the R1M, and I'm gonna just bring that over. Still have to, like I said, do that coolant system. I'm trying to decide if I want to do the engine ice or not, because once I get back from COTA, I'm going to go ahead and send this ECU off and get it flashed, because I'm going to have to remove the quick shifter. More than likely. I may not. I may just, I'm gonna go ahead. I don't know. I'm gonna do some research on that, see what all is involved with the install. If I don't need to flash it to install it, I'll just run it, you know. And as I said, once I get back, probably send that stuff back off to Chris with more Mafia, or I may go cross-plane, get him to do it. And I also got a guy that I used in California that's done a tune for me, and his prices were very, very good, and what he did was very, very worth it. So, you know, got options with that. But let's see if you guys can see these fairings. Nice little satin look to them, just like my last R1 was. I called her Ruby, and probably do the same with this one. Nickname is Red Rum. If you know, you know. And I'll probably give you guys a better look at these outside, because oh wait, let me turn my flash on. That might help a little bit. But outside still, you know, gives you guys a very good look at how these things came out. The sheen is pretty much where I wanted them. The decals that I'm going to put on are going to be either carbon fiber or gloss black. Also check the headlights. The daytime running lights do work. And as I told you all, I'm waiting for the actual headlights to arrive from the UK. As for now, I'm about to replace this guy because my new one came in, and oh, there it is. The new one came in. Obviously there's gonna have to be some stuff swapped over. This doesn't even have the screen on it that this one comes with. So that screen, as well as some of this internal stuff, will have to come off, because this thing is pretty much just all plastic. There's like none of the metal items that are on this are here. Hell, most of the screws aren't even here. So I'm gonna swap this stuff over, probably do it off camera. man once said in Burger Boys, before all you brothers get too salty, I'm not using the red Loctite, and the reason being is I may take this off again at some point, and I'm not going through that whole baptism by fire crap again. That's a little bit too much for me. Time to try to crank this thing up and see what it do. All right, guys, so here we are. Back at it again. Fuel pump prime a couple of times. No lights right now. Idling right at 1,000 RPMs right now, which I am shocked that it's still doing anything. Definitely have to adjust that idle mode. I'm pretty freaking happy right now. Did give it a little bit of throttle when it first fired up. The check engine light is on right now though. But again, that could be due to the ECU flash. I'm sure this ECU's been flashed. I'm gonna have to hit my homeboy up and ask him what all. Oh, there it goes. It's a little bit of progress. Let's see if it'll start up again with no throttle. That quick, the engine temp got up to 186. The ambient temperature is pretty much 90 degrees right now. That kind of went as expected. Just hit 204, the fans are on. That's a good sign. I mean, it got up there quick. Is not a very good sign. I think I am going to call it a night at this point. I may go ahead and pull these injectors, check them out, see what they do. At least I kind of have a starting point. I have somewhere to go on. I'll see you guys on the next one.